morning, afternoon, or evening as the case. I'm Zen Archer, and this is yet another episode of Ask Zen Archer. I'm going to try to start this off relatively quickly, and hopefully get through it before my battery runs out. If not, we'll make this a two-part series, and I'll continue it inside. I'm going to get right to it because my battery is relatively low, and I don't have a second one with me, which was my fault. So, Alt Banger has asked me, Zen, I've been looking for balance in my life, and I've tried to go through and do the right thing. And what do you do when you come across people who choose to live their lives in a vile manner and abuse other people and yet complain because they feel they're being abused? How do you deal with them? Do you just tell them where to get off? Do you tell them what they're doing isn't right and you're not going to take it anymore? How do you deal with the anger and the hate and the stuff that comes along with it? Do you just let karma take care of it? Well, first of all, when you see those people, you're making a judgment. You're making a judgment based on the baggage that you're carrying with you, if it's good or not, your life experiences, whatever they may be. You're making a judgment on them. And there is at least one book, and I'm sure many, that basically say the same thing. Just judge not, lest ye be judged. It's good advice. Everybody has their problems, and I'm sure that a lot of people find you, not you particularly Alt Banger, but you in general, people find one another irritating at times. But let's say you do run across that person that is just plain evil. How do you deal with it? Do you get in their face and tell them what for? I think as a human being, you have a responsibility to try to make the world a better place. For all of us, including for them. If you can give constructive criticism, and usually a way to do that is almost to be a friend to them and say, look at what you're doing, why are you doing this? That's a good thing. But if you look at this person, you know that any criticism you give them is going to end up with, just a browbeating. Why waste your time? You only have responsibility for one person in this world, and that's you. What others do around you, although it may affect you, although it may make you sick at your stomach at times, you don't have control over them. I think the best thing that you can do is, I think you should stand up and say, I don't find this particularly amusing. I don't find it worthwhile. And so stand up and be counted as saying, this is unacceptable to me. I don't find it interesting or worthwhile. And you'll probably get a browbeating. But you have your convictions. You stood up for your convictions, and you said what you needed to. There are a lot of people who don't have the nerve and don't have the guts and are very quiet people that don't do that. And you did that for them too. It also lets them know that the world in general is not an evil place. There are just evil people in the world. And maybe you doing that will give them the courage to say, I find it distasteful myself. And maybe when this group of people say that openly, and by saying it openly, also willing to take the arrows that are bound to be shot their way, when they have the courage to do it, maybe it'll have an impact on the person who is being the vile person. Maybe it'll make them step back for a minute and go, you know what? The majority of people are good people, and they don't see it the way that I do. Or they're misunderstanding what I'm saying because of the way that I'm saying it. Maybe they have a valid point, you know. Maybe Zen Archer is really just one big asshole. And maybe a bunch of people think that. Maybe a bunch of people who said, you know what, dude, you're an asshole. You know, you're not getting this and that and the other thing. Maybe it would make me take a step back and go, am I? Am I being an asshole? I thought I was making a valid point, but maybe I'm presenting it the wrong way. So you might be doing them a favor by standing up and saying what you believe. But I think that's where your responsibility ends. It's not up to you to attack them or to call them names and that kind of thing. I paraphrased your question because there was a lot of preconceived notions in the question about people being on welfare all their lives and not wanting to be part of society and stuff like that. Those are issues that you have. I'll tell you right now, I spent 7 years on welfare. I'm not afraid to come out here and tell you. It was a time in my life when that's what I had to do. And there were people that I knew, family that I knew, that felt I was just taking advantage of the system. What I was doing was taking advantage of something that was put there for a person like me in the position I was in. And I can also tell you that that particular thing is built to make you dependent upon it. I'm not on it now, but I was. And for 7 years. Because I needed to feed my family. I spent it productively. I went to school. I got a number of degrees. I bettered myself. I looked for work. I found work. And I eventually got off. But that was no easy task because that system is built to make you dependent upon it. But the point being, you come at the question with a lot of baggage from your previous life and what you think about other people and making judgments on other people. Judge not lest you be judged. When you see someone that's doing something wrong, it's nothing wrong to attack the behavior and say, you're doing something wrong. This is not right. And I'm standing up to tell you that this isn't right. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There is, however, something wrong with attacking the person. Because you don't know who they are. You don't know where they came from. You don't know what they've gone through in their life that made them the person that they are today. People do what works. My children used to come to me and try to get my attention, and oftentimes they wouldn't. The solution to that, because the attention was what they needed, was to fight, or to argue, or do something outlandish that they knew was against the rules. And that drew my attention. It gave them timeouts, it gave them spankings, which I do believe in. It gave them a lot of negative things. But the one thing that it gave them that they were really looking for was attention from me. And you'll find a lot of people out here that are being vile. All they want is a little recognition for their good behavior or their bad behavior. All they're really doing is saying, look at me. Look at me. Please, somebody, look at me. And when you view it that way, you don't feel angry at them. You feel bad for them. You feel sorry for them. And you hope that their life will improve in such a way that it's not necessary for them to be vile people to get a little attention. But you're responsible for you. You have to do, you can only control what you do. You can only control how you react. If you react in a negative, violent way, all you're doing is validating that the way to get things done is by being negative and violent. And if you believe in karma, and that positive karma begets positive karma, you also realize that all you're doing is dragging yourself down. And no real benefit can come from it. And yes, people who are vile people, who surround themselves with vile people, are destined to a vile life. You are what you eat. If you want to know what kind of person you are, look at the people that you surround yourself with. Because they are you. And you are them. My battery's almost dead. And I think I've pretty much given you the answer that you asked for. Try to be understanding of where they're coming from. They may not be able to say what they want to say another way than being vile. Hostility may be the only life that they know. I've got some deer coming through the woods right now. I can hear the branches cracking, and there's probably 4 or 5. I also have a couple, not cardinals, what are these? Robin redbreasts. I have a couple robin redbreasts that have decided to visit with me and let their presence be known, looking for worms and stuff. At any rate, that's what's drawing my attention away. So, what I have to say to you is just be understanding. I also have another friend I'm going to show you real quick because I don't want him to get away before you see him. I don't know if you'll be able to see him, but we'll try. This is why I love outdoors. This is why I like it in the woods. See these animals, and you know they're doing the same thing we are. They're just trying to survive this world. And they spend the better part of the day doing it. So you are only responsible for you. You can only do what you should do. And hopefully be an example to those who don't. As always, this is Zen Archer. If you have a question you'd like to ask me, big or small, whatever it might be, silly or serious, please feel free to stop by and visit with me. Leave a message. Ask your question and I'll get to it as best I can as soon as I can. Until next time, be well,